Alright, hi. Today we're reading an Army Corps Correspondence Program, subcourse QM5086, edition 2. I got this off of survivalebooks.com. Verify installation command petroleum requirements. Introduction. The subcourse is designed to train a 76W50 soldier on how to verify the installation command petroleum requirements, which cover each part of the text, which with the responsibility or performing installation of the command petroleum control requirements. Supplementary training materials provided. The known materials are provided with the unit supervisor. None 2 credit hours will be awarded for successful completion of this subcourse. Lesson text. Estimating bulk petroleum requirements. There are several methods of using bulk petroleum requirements or may have been used as one of the methods of preparing the petroleum requirements. Your job is to verify the petroleum requirements submission to the unit historical data. The most accurate method of estimating the requirements is based on the unit of the historical deflect. Historical data and the reflections variable on the weather and the terrain, organizational strength, and operational vehicle equipment. The data can be obtained from the past moves of the Army Maintenance Management System or TAMS information or other sources. 3. Data in the FM 101.10.1. The historical data is not available. Requirements can be determined using the data of the FM 101.10.1. The data is based on the experience of World War II, with the Korean War, the Vietnam Wars, and has been validated with the greatest extent possible using subsequent experience, such as the data from the 1973 Mid-East War gaming, the simulation models. While planning the data of the FM 101.10.1, the best available computation method is still not accurate as unit historical data. 4. Gallons per man per day. The gallons per man per day method of estimating petroleum requirements is used early planning stages when information is not available with the numbers and types of vehicles. Because the organizational composition varies, but the method is never be used below the corps level. However, once the figure is established for a given theater, it may be used for requesting purposes. Small units, the gallons per manpower method is to be used only as a guide, but not as a substitute for most more exact computation. The consumption is in gallons per man per day, and the various theaters vary with the terrain, climate, with the ratio land of amphibious operation, the number of the units using special vehicles and equipment. 5. Equipment consumption data of the FM 101.10.1 provided with the consumption data verifies the Army and equipment included with the aircraft, vehicles, generators extract from the tables containing the data appear with the following pages of the figures 1 through 6. The data may be used for the unit level for the determining bulk and package requirements, equipment density type required as when using method, although the method is considerably more accurate than gallons per min per day. Method is not accurate as using the unit historical data. Table 315, Army aircraft fuel data, aviation fuel requirements, figure 1, computed separately for each of the aircraft. The formula is gallons required equals number of aircraft type by the gallons fuel consumed by each hour by one aircraft, and the distance of miles flown by one aircraft and times the speed of the airflight speed in knots. For example, if you have a 3CH-47C Chinook helicopter, we're going to fly with 250 nautical miles of average cruising speed of 120 knots. The total fuel required would be 3 times 150 times 250 equaling 2,616.28 gallons of JP4 fuel. Table 314, vehicle or equipment fuels. Requirements for the equipment listed on Table 314 are computed with using the formula gallon required by times distance times gallons per kilometer times the number of vehicles where, and the distance is equal to the kilometers of the vehicles will move. For example, a 3/4 ton ambulance and 2 light armored cars that were going to travel 100 kilometers, the total fuel required would be 100 times 0.31 times 3, or equaling 9 plus 100 times 181 times 2, equaling 9.3 plus 36.2, equaling 45.5 gallons of MoGas. Table 36, watercraft, amphibious vehicle equipment. Table 37, construction equipment. In Table 380, generators. In Table 311, stationary equipment for the requirements. Equipment listed in these 4 tables, figures 3 and through 6, are computed with the following formula: gallons required times the time of an hour's equipment will operate times the gallons fuel consumed in each hour, the rate, and the number of pieces of equipment. For example, four 7.5 kilowatt generators are the LIN number J49055, figure 5. 3 kilowatt generators at the LIN number for J51453, figure 5. 10 commercial refrigeration units, LIN number R62393, figure 6, operate the 20 hours a day for 3 days. The fuel requirement would be 7 kilovolt generator with the 20 hours equals the 1.5 gallons per hour times 4 generators times 3 days, 360 gallons of gas at 30 kilowatt generator with the 20 hours equals 9.5 gallons per hour. One generator for 3 days, 570 gallons of JPP refrigeration unit for the 20 hours times 1 gallon per hour times 10 units for 3 days with 600 gallons of the gas type. Total gas is 960 gallons, 360 plus 600 of the JP4, 570 gallons. 6 gallons per kilometer with the ratio. The gallons are 1 or the kilometer ratio, the RN. Gallons 1 kilometer represents the amount of gasoline required to move the vehicle 1 kilometer. The method of forecasting requires to rely on the table figures in figure 36 through 320 and the field manual 101.10.1. The figure table 316 is used in the lesson text column 1 through 12. Given the gallons of 1 kilometer ratio for the vehicles, each unit listed in the column. 3. The gallons in 1 kilometer method provided with a reasonable accurate method of determining the bulk fuel requirements at the unit level, but is not recommended with the historical unit data. With its available service, important factors are considered with calculating unit fuel requirements. A displacement, the average distance of kilometers each of the vehicles must be moved and determined with measuring the distance as the center of mass is moved. The center of the mass is the center of the area occupied with the forces of vacuum. In figure 8, the center of the mass moved at 60 kilometers. Displacement over the roads equal the movement of the movement distance (MD) times 1 gallon times gallons of 1 kilometer ratio. The less gallons needed to move the organization over the roads to move it across the country. The cross-country consumption rate is 2.5 times the road movement. Therefore, the displacement across the country equals the movement displacement times of gasoline 1 kilometer ratios times 2.5. Supply certain vehicles, the organization must make a round-trip supply hauls, and during the displacement, since the trips are made to supply the points located varying the distance from the organization surrounding the round trip supply, the distance must be determined. Experience indicated with the daily requirements for the supply hauls are equal to approximately 10% of the total organization consumption per kilometer, either multiplied with the average round-trip supply distance, or ARTSD. Therefore, the supply factor equals the Army average round-trip supply distance times the 10% of the gallons for 1 kilometer ratio. When an organization is not in the move supply, the requirements are included with the housekeeping requirements. C. Service daily supplemental services exit the moving vehicles of the biovac areas reconnaissance and for the engine oil with the long periods of low gear operations. Their service requirements fuel consumption depends on the nature of the operation, whether the roads and terrain under average condition requirements may be estimated using the consumption necessary to move all the vehicles organization 16 kilometers over the roads. Therefore, service equals 16 times the gas on the kilometer ratio. Housekeeping. Additionally, daily requirements exist for the administrative vehicles, kitchens, and gasoline-powered equipment for the maintaining and testing engines. When the organization is not unmatched, the requirements are noted under each field data in paragraph E with the paragraph 3.8. The field manual 101.10.1 of the organization is on the move for the requirements of administrative vehicles, not supply hauls of gasoline-powered equipment. Is absorbed the maintenance and the testing factor, is absorbed by the service factor. Waste covers waste. Waste covers the evaporation spills, small camber losses are computed only when the unit moving over the roads of the combat zone, and including in the bulk estimate when the unit is moved over the roads. The communication zones, or COMMs, COMMZ, cross-country waste is commuted at 10% of the sum of all the consumption figures. For F, the stationary equipment, this factor applies to the fuel-consuming equipment which does not provide its own power to move. The generators, air compressors, refrigeration units are examples of such equipment. It can be estimated that this type of equipment will operate 20 hours a day. Total fuel for the movement of the fuel formulas computing the total fuel requirement for the move over the roads in the combat zone for more across the country are given below. The formulas are equipped with the examples given in the subparagraph 1 and 2. Total quantities moved around with the two next higher 5 gallon over the roads in combat zone. Displacement of the distance times the gallons times 1 kilometer ratio. Supplied with the Army repaired to RTSD times 10% times the gallons of kilometer ratio. Surface is 16, 1 gallon kilometer ratio. 10% times the displacement plus the displacement, supply, and surface added together. Total general gallons displacement, supply, and surface waste. Cross country displacement HD, the gallon 1 kilometer ratio of 2.5, supply RTSD times 10% gasoline kilometer ratio. Surface 16 gallons kilometer ratio. Total gallons displacement plus surface plus supply. Computing the following requirements for the over-the-road move in the combat zone for the following examples to demonstrate the use of the factors communicating the fuel requirements for the move over the roads in the combat zone. Use the figure 7 to page 11 for the example. The headquarters community company armored division will move the forward of the roads on the combat zone for the new position at 24 kilometers away for the average round trip supply distance for all the cases supplying with the 21 kilometers move. The requirements only 1 day to complete. The total amount of fuel required for the move the commuted is found. The gasoline 1 kilometer ratio for the gasoline for the company of no gas diesel. The gallons of the gasoline 1 kilometer of that the headquarters of the company and is 1.2. The diesel ratio is also 1.2. The information can now be used to formula for each of the 4 factors. Since the 2 figures of the gasoline kilometer ratio are the same, only the mo gas will be shown and the diesel will be the same. Mo gas displacement, the MD, the gas kilometer ratio, the 24 kilometer to 1.2 gas kilometer ratio, 2.8 to 1.28 gallon supply. RTSD times 10% times the gallon 1 kilometer ratio. 21 times 10% times 1.2 equals 2.5 gallons. Service is 16 times gallons kilometer ratio. 16 times 1.2 equals 19.2 gallons. The waste of 10% displacement supply and service 10% times the 2.8 plus 2.52 plus 1.92 equals 5.05 gallons. Total displacement, supply, service, waste, 28.8 plus 2 plus 252 plus 19.2 plus 505 plus 50 minus 55.57. Rounded to the next higher 5 gallons is 60 gallons. 120 gallons of fuel, the gallons of the 60 gallons of mo gas, 60 gallons of diesel required to move the company, computing the requirements of the cross-country move of the headquarters of the company of the engineering battalions move forward across the country of the combat zone, the new position 18 kilometers away. Average round trips supply distance of all the classes supply with the 15 kilometers. The move with the requirements of just 1 day complete. Compute the total fuel requirements as did in subparagraph 1 above. The compute the requirements for the mo gas and the diesel. The mo gas displacement at the MD, the gasoline 1 kilometer ratio 2.5. The 18 times 3.2 times 2.5 is 14 gallons. Supply ratio at ARTSC times 10% times the gallon kilometer ratio at 15 times 10% times 3.2 4.8 gallons. Service is 16 points. The gasoline kilometer ratio 51 gallons. Total displacement supply and service 144 plus 4.8 plus 51.2 is equals to 200 gallons. Diesel displacement is MD times the gasoline kilometer with a 2.5, the 18 times 4.7 times the 2.5, the 215.5 gallons for supply. The RTSD, the 10% of the gallon kilometer ratio, 15 times 10% times 4.7 equals 7.05 gallons. Service of 16 times gallons kilometer ratio, 16 times 4.7, 75.2 gallons. Total displacement supply and service of 21.5 plus 705. 75.2 and the 293.75 rounded to the next higher 5 gallons, 295 gallons. Remember, waste allowance is not competed with the cross-country move. 7 allocation of the petroleum supplies. Command have been particularly the petroleum requirements for the earliest possible day, since the procurement may be required with a long lead time. The Joint Petroleum Office complies with the projections from the support of units compute the overall petroleum requirements. The inset result of the petroleum allocation for each of the unit. The allocation subject for the review. Sometimes allocation may be necessary for the supplies and may be lost, contaminated, destroyed by the enemy action. Operational requests may be changed with requiring unit to perform the specified additional tasks from the code mean the unit would have additional unlocated petroleum requirements. These changes require the senior commanders to establish a list of properties that cause the petroleum supply to be reallocated and be needed for the highest priority of mission. A relocation of means that the petroleum requirements have been recomputed to meet their new needs, unless the additional supplies can be received until the lower priorities would either the allocation cut to provide with the extra petroleum for the new operational requirement. The reallocation will be in accordance with the policy established for the command to meet the operational requirements for the command and support units. And that was the end of the That was in the that was once again that was your APID verifying installation command in petroleum requirements QM 5086 edition 2 APID courses.